back to the shenanigans. Welcome back to Uncomfortable Growth Podcast. As I say in every episode starting this season, if you haven't already, stop this video, like, subscribe, comment, do whatever you gotta do. If you're listening to the audio version, please give us a 5-star. We've had a very stressful season 4, so it would be really nice if you guys just rated us. We're children, we want to be validated, so there's that. But today, oh wait, how are you feeling? Okay. Anyways, we stopped doing that season 1, honestly.
What?
Season 2, when we stopped talking about our day.
Yeah, we stopped. But I mean, how was yours? How's your day?
It's great. Anyways, today, I don't like doing that. All right, so today we're going to talk about change. What that looks like, how that feels, why it's necessary, if it's necessary, I don't know, let me know. So change is good, right?
I guess it depends on who you ask.
I don't like change, so change, yeah. Anyways, do you want to add to that before I start asking you the questions?
No, just jump straight.
Just right, okay. Right, so I don't know how we came up with this title because we were drunk when we brought it up. But I thought of 3 questions on the fly and we're going to elaborate on that. So, Peggy, was there anything you went through that changed you for the worse?
I don't know. I mean, I feel like there's certain things that took place in my life that made me feel like, oh, I'm about to be a savage, I'm gonna be a whole bitch, but it's not in me to be mean. Even though people swear up and down that I look mean, but I'm really not. It's just, I feel like there's a shell that you have to peel off, and I know some people may not have time to do that, and that's perfectly fine, but I feel like certain things that have taken place didn't make me become an evil person. It made me become more aware and kind of like less trustworthy of certain humans, certain things that I was naive to, that I'm not so naive about it, and I'm like, I don't know, I don't think you should do that type of thing. And I try not to put my experiences on people. Like, you know, if I do, I try to do it in a protective way, like just be mindful. Like I tell them to be mindful. I'm not saying, I try not to tell people, well, don't do that because this will happen to me. Because, you know, it may have happened to me. It may not happen to that person. But I'll tell them, like, due to my experience, just be mindful of such and such. Or if they're giving you any signs that you don't trust, proceed with caution type of thing. It never made me actually be a bad person, I don't think. It just made me, like, be more aware. Have I felt like, oh, I'm gonna be a fucking bitch about it now because this person did this such horrible thing to me that, like, oh, now I'm moving forward, I'm gonna be a bitch to every person that crossed my way? No. I thought about it, but I feel like that's not fair to, like, someone, if it had nothing to do with you, now I'm being a bitch to you, like, that's not fair. I don't know. I think that part is, I don't fully feel like it made me change for the worse. It just made me more, like, oh, I gotta protect this little heart of mine type of thing.
Yep. I think, I remember telling you that every experience is not wasted experience, like whether good or bad. But I do feel like sometimes when you don't address the experience the proper way, it can be bad for you specifically, not for no one else, because now you're guarded, you're not, like, you can't be your genuine self immediately. Like, people can't experience your genuine self in the first encounter because you already have your guard up, right? So for instance, you being cheated on, now you have your guard up when you go on dates or when you start dating, and it takes a while. And I know for myself, I can probably speak for you when I say, like, it's gonna take a while for a guy to have my full-on trust and have and see vulnerability from me, because when I presented that so early on in a relationship and someone took advantage of that, I was just like, I don't like that feeling, so I'm just not gonna do that anymore. And unfortunately, maybe the next person that comes around isn't gonna be the last person, and they are coming in 110 and they are being completely genuine, honest, vulnerable, but unfortunately, that feeling, that pain that you didn't address, is still present in you, and so you can't even allow yourself to be, like, you can't allow yourself to reciprocate that energy. And so not only are you hurting yourself, because you could potentially miss out on somebody, but you're also hurting the person, because it's like, damn, what the hell did I do to kind of like have your guard up? I know for me, I don't know if it's my like upbringing, but like I don't trust people. People are weird.
I think part of it's upbringing and part of it is your experience, because we all know how you're raised does play a role with what you do later on in life as an adult. Now, is it solely an excuse for you to do what you do as an adult? No. Certain situations, no. Like the whole concept of, well, that's just how I am type of thing people like to use sometimes, that's not excusable. Like, yes, we all went through some type of trauma, some type of experience that made us who we are today, but we are old enough to understand therapy helps to a certain extent. Having the right people around you in your circle, even family members in your circle. Because I know some people grew up in messed up families. Regardless if it's the parents, aunt, uncles, cousins, sisters, brothers, whoever. Some people have messed up family members, and I get that. Just because you are born into a family doesn't mean that you have to stick around them because they're family. No, we're not saying that at all. Just like how we can distance ourselves
and
from
so that
friends,
would be the change that is good.
Yes.
Because it's like you're changing your environment to protect yourself, but also be able to be your full self without any restrictions.
Yes. The being raised, like, I grew up in a culture, a lot of people in the Haitian culture can relate, especially us millennials. We know, like, we grew up being told by our parents, like, oh, be careful of your friends. And I'm not saying some of the stuff they said weren't true. There are some friends that I'm not really
friends. But they were speaking from experience. Part of it unresolved experiences.
Unresolved experiences. And then the notion of anytime as a child or teenager, if we do something bad, it's like, oh, it's because your friends. I'm like, honestly, I literally did that because I'm the culprit. I'm the culprit. My friends were actually appalled that I did that. Like, there are things I did as a teenager. My mother swore up and down, oh, it's your friends, it's your friends. I'm like, no, it's me. Like, it's literally me. I'm your demonic child,
I think the reason why parents refuse to acknowledge the fact that it's their kids is because to them it's like, I'm the reason why you're that way. I'm responsible for you. Who you are as an adult and as a preteen is a reflection of me. Well, at least Korean parents, like,
because they don't. The moment you do something bad, oh, you're embarrassing me, embarrassing the family. I'm like, okay, but also at the same time of them kind of like telling us, oh, be careful of this person, be careful of that person, don't do this, don't do that, like kind of restricting you like from doing certain things, that now as an adult you kind of hinder yourself from doing certain things because you were told no, or it could be the opposite. Some people turn into break out their shell when they finally like leave home and stuff, because they've been so restricted from doing so many things when they were teenagers or early 20s. Who knows how strict their parents were. When they finally get that taste of real freedom, like, oh, I can actually do what I want, they lose their damn mind, because it's like, oh, I didn't get a chance to do none of that.
I'm gonna try to fit all of this in before Christmas break.
Right, I'm gonna do all of this now. So, but the funny thing is, that's what people assumed that I was going to do when I went to go live on campus, because my parents were strict or whatever. But honestly,
is your parents okay? Like, were they okay with you being on campus?
The first thing they said when I said, "Oh, I want to live on campus," oh, mind you, you might start with y'all. 45 minutes away at the time before all this crazy traffic. Now it might be an hour away, but at the time it was literally 45 minutes away. Oh, it's so far. Like, what if you have an emergency? I'm like, 911. If I have an emergency. And two, most of my family live in Massachusetts. It's not a big hassle for y'all to just drive down to New Bedford or whatever. And, you know, at first they were like kind of like, but then in their head they're like, oh, we don't have a choice. Like, I could have pulled the stunt like, well, if you don't want me to go down there, I'm not going to college at all. And you know how parents are, no school? You're an idiot. Like, what? Yeah. So I went to go live on campus. Was it a new experience for me? Yes. Was I still in my shell? Yes, because I, trying to learn how to maneuver to do things on my own. I mean, I've always been very self-sufficient and independent in a sense. I've been told that. One of my colleagues now, who was my old teacher, she's like, you've always been self-sufficient. You do things on your own. You only really ask help if you really, like last resort, I really need help to complete a task. That's the only time I ever ask for help. But 9 times out of 10, I'm doing it on my own before I even ask for help. So, but that was part of a change that I did. I took a leap because I wasn't sure. To do it, like, damn, I'm gonna live on campus. I mean, I didn't go that far out. It's not like I left the whole state. Now, that would have been a huge step for me. But I still made that small step, not living at home and being somewhere else 5 days, 6 days out the week, right? Until you get a vacation time. Would I come up here every other weekend? Yes, I did. But most of the majority of my time was spent on campus where, you know, I was going to parties, hanging out with friends. Were there dorm parties? Yes, they were. Were we drinking? Yes, we were. But it was like I was still responsible. At the back of my head, I always said, like, I'm not trying to end up in jail for some fuck shit. I'm not trying to be responsible or get caught up in some shit that will follow me for the rest of my life. I want to have fun, but I don't want a record. Like, I always kept that in the back of my head. I don't want a record. And also the thing, embarrassing my family. Because it's like, I can't call my parents if I'm in jail.
No.
I can't. Like, I couldn't. Like, I don't think, even at this day and age, like, at 36, if God forbid something was happening, I don't know if I could, because it's like, they'd probably be like, what did you do to get to this point? It's like, this is not the time. Can you just build?
These are irrelevant questions. I need you to get
here now. But no, but I feel like them with the hindrance, and I know it was out of love and not out of hate or anything like that, did hinder me to a certain extent where I couldn't really trust people. Even in college, I was like skeptical with people like going to their dorm rooms. And like 9 times out of 10, most of it's for protection. Because now when you hear these crazy stories of people going to people's houses and never coming back, or taking trips and never coming back, I'm like,
right.
I do see why my mother was like, you ain't sleeping over nobody's house. You can sleep over here in your bed. Your bed is a sleepover. Have fun here. Type of thing. I see why they did it, but as a kid, you don't see why they're doing it because it's like, what the hell? You're ruining my fun.
Yeah.
But hindsight, I get it. But I feel like at the same time, it did hinder me from... I feel like I missed out on certain opportunities that I could have taken a leap of faith to do, but I was kind of scared. Like, I felt like I wasn't mentally prepared for it. I don't know.
I forgot what the question. You went on a tangent.
Sorry.
No, that's fine. That's
like
that's perfectly
our
fine.
Environment.
Yeah. That's. I don't know if it's. This is so random, but I had a conversation with an Uber driver yesterday, and he's from Somalia, and he was just saying, like, he asked me if I had kids, because of course that's like
the first question they ask women.
Oh my god, it's so annoying. Anyways, and then he got into the topic like, I have 2 kids, I have 2 little kids, but I definitely want a lot more. I'm just not okay with raising them in America. And for me, like, he didn't even have to explain, because I knew the reason why he said that. He said that because he's like, America has so many different people, which is great because then your children are exposed to all these different things. But he comes from a very strict religious background and like strict following that, like the idea of having children and then being in America, exposed to all these things and not being able to putting the risk of having their children go outside of what he believes in and what his culture values is like the thing that's causing him not to have more kids. And I'm like, that's probably our parents. Like, they didn't experience anything, but they see it, and so they're like, I'm gonna do whatever I can to protect my child, whether they think it's protecting or not. Like, I don't know, but I think a lot of parents just like, they don't have to experience it, but they see it, they hear about it, and they're like, my child's not gonna go through that, so yeah, I'm not gonna do that. But what's been a good change in your life?
Can you answer that first?
I'm waiting for it.
Oh my god. They told me nothing good has happened. Nothing. I hope your family's watching this.
I mean, like, for myself personally, like, I can go on and on about other people, but like, me and my personal change, it hasn't happened. I feel like you have something to say, but you don't want to say it.
No, I'm fine.
No. No. Say it.
I think, like, I mean, it may not be a big thing for you. I feel like being your friend for the last 20 something fucking years and counting is the fact that I don't know if there was stress behind it and you didn't show it, but there were times in the past where I've seen how you went from faced a phase of your life where whether you had to move somewhere else, you always made sure the next phase was a little bit upgraded or better than the previous one. Like from the first apartment you had way back in Dorchester up until this point. I'm not saying it's a condo deluxe living in the sky skyrise, you know, but it's
I've had better.
But it's compared to what you've been through. I see like that's a good change. You being able to sit on this podcast is fucking surprising to me.
Yeah, there's days where I'm like, I don't want to do this today. I don't want to do this ever again.
But seeing you say yes, actually, and then went forward with it, I was surprised. I mean, I'm surprised at myself for even doing this because, yes, I like to talk, but I don't really like to talk in front of people like that. Yeah. Like, talking with my friends, like, when we're having, like, that's nothing to me.
I honestly feel like I'm still not my full self. You know how we have conversations and it be deep as hell? Mm-hmm. I don't think I've gotten there yet here.
On the podcast? No. It will come. It will come. You know why I don't know
because I'm like, I want some privacy. I want some of my...
I feel like... I'm not saying to share your deepest, darkest secrets. There's certain things that should remain private. But I feel like if we're open enough to a certain extent, like, at least we're being honest about an experience. Even if you don't tell the whole experience, but you give enough so the person can know, like, okay, I get the backhand story. I get why they're talking about this topic. Or I get why he or she is the way she is right now or he is right now. I get that. Not saying, like, you have to give your all into this podcast in a sense where you have to share from the time you were conceived to this point.
Yes.
No. Because I know for a fact that there are a lot of things that I didn't fully indulge in and tell on this podcast. Because certain things I feel like it should remain private. It should be something that I discuss amongst my friends if need be, or my significant other if it gets to that point. I don't think that a bunch of strangers need to know every single detail about our lives. Because you know there's a bunch of weirdos out here that can use that shit against you. But the stuff that we have shared are things that I'm not saying we don't care for, but it's stuff that we have involved in the sense that, okay, you guys
that was me. Like, yeah, that's true.
That was me, and this is why I am the way I am.
That's why it's uncomfortable growth, because we're sharing our uncomfortable truths from our past. And there's literally nothing you can do to use it against us because it's been there, done that.
Listen, I already embarrassed myself. What you gonna do?
Like, there's nothing you can do to embarrass me any more than what I've already done in the past.
Exactly. So that's why I'm like, I think there's some changes that you made that actually shocked me. And I'm like, oh wow, you're actually doing that? Like, good for you.
I think, like Virgos, you have this idea of what it's gonna look like for you. Mm-hmm. And to be fair, you mentioned something about like just my move and like how it's upgraded over the years. Mm-hmm. My thing is, I feel more like it's is it called lateral move? Like where it's just kind of like this way. Mm-hmm. It's not going up. It's just like this way. And if it is going up, it's just like a half a step, like. And it's just taking too long. And I don't like it. Mm-hmm. So that's why I'm going to try to be grateful in the moment. I haven't been grateful at all. And Thanksgiving was yesterday. Well, Thanksgiving was a couple of weeks ago. But I've been on this, like, I'm tired of being grateful. I want to see change. Like, oh my God, I'm so grateful for these little minute things in my life that's happened. And I'm just like, okay, like... Let's get to the big part. Let's get to the fucking fireworks. Let's get to the fucking streamers, the poppers, the sparklers. I want that.
You know what reminds me of? The meme where it says, I'm tired of waiting on God to have things happen. I'm about to rob a bank. Like, I'm tired. I'm tired of waiting for the money. Like, Lord, where's it?
Like, I need it.
I'm about to steal now because I'm tired.
I'm about to rob somebody's grandmother. Like... Stop playing with me in my time. But anyways, what about you? What change have you...
Well, I mean, a big change for me was obviously open like official, not saying my other businesses aren't official, but actual business that is not strictly online. It's an actual brick and mortar. Mm-hmm. So like my opening up my venue space with my business partner, who's also my college friend, and we're still friends, opening that up because now it's more human face-to-face interaction. And then especially...
There's a lot of elements that are going to help you grow as a person.
Yes. I just don't want people who don't know me when they come interact with me as the individual. If you're not dealing with my business partner, and dealing with me, I don't want people, because I'm not the super bubbly person. Like, you know how some people are like, hello, hi. I'm never like that. I've never been like that. I am such an introvert. I'm very mellow. Like, hi, how you doing? Nice to meet you. Shake your hand and everything. Let me show you around. Do you need help with anything? I can show you how to get to that. Blah blah blah. Anything else do you need? And I'll step out the way to give you to do whatever you need to do. And if you need me, just call me and I'll help you out.
You should, if you don't even want to be that person, you kind of want to be behind the scenes, just find somebody that'll do the...
I am in the process of hiring.
Yeah. Find someone that's going to, like, do all the theatrics and the fucking performative shit. Like...
And action, because it ain't me.
And then that person comes to you. Obviously, they have to know a lot about the space.
Yeah.
But that person comes to you like, this person, this is their application, this is what they want, this is what they're looking for. And then you go with whatever you need to do, whether financials or approving or whatever, and do the email communication. Yeah. I feel like you're probably better at that.
Yes. I've been told over the years, every single job that I've upheld, people that I've worked with would come to me and say, hey, this is what they're saying about you. I'm like, is it bad? No, they're saying, like, you know, Peggy does her job. She does an amazing job. She's very efficient. Oh, no, we don't have a problem with that. She just doesn't talk much. I come in to do my job. That's what matters. I'll say good morning.
Can I say something?
What?
So, you saying that. I remember, so my company, we have all these employee resource groups, and my friend is on the leadership board for the Proud team, like the LGBTQ+. And I support her and everything she does. So she had got a guest speaker called Teak Milan, who is transgender, to talk about diversity in the workspace and how we can be better at that, and like things that we can do on a day-to-day basis when we interact with people, to just be better at like being inclusive, right? And he said something that was so, I was like, I looked, like I rolled my eyes to my boss when he said this, because I'm like, I hope you fucking heard that shit. Because you need to take notes. Like, but anyways, Teak said, diversity and inclusion doesn't just mean race. It means ageism. Like, are you hiring older and younger? Are you hiring disabled? Like, there's all these other things. He's like, but one thing that I always notice that people forget is introverts are just as asset to your company as extroverts. And I'm like, he's like, don't be like, oh, she's not bubbly enough, she's not interactive enough, like blah 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 blah, because like that person may not be that bubbly person, but you have 101 of them. Like pick from one of them. And he's like, that introvert is gonna get work done. It's gonna get head down, get shit done. And that doesn't that doesn't mean they're not valuable to the company. They're not an asset to the company. He's like, so be more diverse in that way. Like, instead of just saying like, oh, do we have enough black people? Check that box. Do we have enough Asians or whatever? He's like, introverts and extroverts definitely fall in that fucking line when it comes to diversity. And so, yeah. So I feel like, yes, you are that way. I think you could do a little better with being like, this is going to help you. This job is going to, not just job, this new business that you have could potentially help you, but that doesn't mean you need to, like, we all have to come out of our comfort zone for something, right? This was out of my comfort zone, and I'm doing it. I've been doing it for over a year, right? Do I enjoy it sometimes? Fuck no, because I'm like, I just want to sleep. And so, but I do it because I made a promise to Peggy. It's a commitment, whatever. You do it. I've been in customer service forever, like since the beginning of fucking time. So I know, and like all my coworkers will turn around and be like, the fuck was that? Because it's like a switch for me. Like I turn it on and turn it right the fuck off. I answer the phone like super bubbly. I'm very like attentive. I'm very like, how are you? How's everything going? Blah, blah, blah. I have relationships with all of our clients. Like all of them know me. But I turn that bitch off. Like when I see them on the train and going home, I pretend like I don't fucking see them because I already talked to you on the phone. I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to talk to you again. So for you, this could just be a way to like unlock that side of you. You don't have to always have it on, but you can have it on when you're meeting new people.
Anyways, I'm gonna try, but no, for me,
try. But if it's really, really uncomfortable, like it's not a necessity for you to be the best version of yourself, then just fucking hire someone to do it.
Yeah, cause the whole like like I know I'm smiling. I hope I'm smiling because I hope I'm not saying smiling and it's the whole Kanye face. I hope it's not. No, but no. When it comes to the business, I know how to use the customer service voice. I know how to do my best to ask the questions to make sure the person's fully accommodated the best way possible. It's just the extra bubbly, like cheesing. You can see all 32 teeth is not me, but I will smile. I will smile. I'll shake your hand. I'll double check to make sure you're good. Like I'm good with that. I like to make sure people are good, especially if they're in my space. I like to make sure you're good. You need anything? Is there? You want me to go get something for you? Because I'll go get it. Like even if I don't have to, but I want to make sure the person doesn't have to do all the extra stuff when
provide hospitality.
Yeah. Basically. So pretty much, I've been doing that for years, and I've always done my job. One thing I couldn't stand, is the job where, you know, I worked at a hospital where a lot of the nurses were white. They had nurses of color, but not a lot. And most of them did, the ones that we did have, some of them worked night shifts. I didn't always work night shifts. And night shifts is very mellow or whatever. But during the day, you know, I'll answer the phones, do whatever. I'll come in, say good morning, everyone, grab all the old pages, wipe down my whole section, including the nurses station. I would wipe down where they sit too. Wipe everything down. Some of them were like, oh my God, Peggy, you're so efficient. You come in and wipe everything down. This is before COVID, y'all. This is like 2017, 2018, or whatever. Wiping everything down. Then I sit down, I get started, assign the beepers, tell them good morning, how's your day, da, da, da. If they want to tell me their life story, they tell me their life story. But for them, what bothered them the most is when they say I wasn't talking as much. They wanted me to share my personal business, and that's my issue with a lot of these jobs. You are not required to know everything about the person you're working with. Now, if you genuinely want to know
them as a person,
know them as a person, and really be their real friend, if you care to be their friend, then do that. I get it. There's a lot of people where you find out, God forbid, they end up committing suicide and stuff because they felt alone, and it's like, damn. Like, I probably played a role in that. Like, I just said good morning, kept it pushing. I never checked in on them to ask them how they were doing, how was their weekend, how's everything going, what other things they're into outside of work. That's fine. If you genuinely want to know, then you want to know. I've honestly got vibes from people in every job that I had is like, you only asking because you're nosy. Because 9 times out of 10, the people that they've gotten information from throughout the day, I would hear those same nurses later on in the evening discussing those same people's information that they just indulged with them earlier that day. Like, and you think I want to share anything with you? Like, no, this is why I stay in my shell. I do my job.
That's why I pay attention to people's body language and what they talk about and how they talk about other people that are not present and people that are present, because it lets me know, like, am I gonna be able to trust you with my personal shit? Probably not.
Yeah, and the whole like, oh, we're a family. It's toxic as hell. I don't like the family notion at any job because it's like, even my own family got problems and we argue and disagree. What makes you think we're not gonna disagree on things? Like, this is just the facade here that I noticed a lot of jobs been trying to take up on. Like, we're a family. We don't need to use that title, but you can be nice to your coworker, be respectful. You may not always agree with everything. You may feel like, oh my God, they're doing this. Politely talk to them. If they are the type of person that you literally, there's some people you cannot approach no matter what. It's like, you know what, let me go have this discussion with another colleague or the boss and see what we can do so the person doesn't feel like, one, I'm ganging up on them or always picking on them, because you don't want those problems. But just be genuine. If you really care to know your coworker, especially the introverted coworker, be genuine about it. Don't be fake and trying to get to know that person, and you really just want to get to know their business so you can share it. Trust me. You're going to fuck around and find out. Just don't do that. But I have always been naturally an introvert. I didn't know what an introvert was until, I think, 5-6 years ago, people started really using that word heavily. I didn't know that's what I was. I just, been told, like, oh, she tends to keep to herself. She does her work. She speaks. Unless spoken to. If I do speak, it's because I have a question, or if I'm offering help, I see someone needs help. I've always been that way. I have those moments where I try to break out my shell and stuff. I'm more so open with children than I am with adults. So like with students, when I'm sitting down with them and they're telling me their life stories, I'll give them a little tidbits. Like, this is what I did. This, because literally students will literally forget that teachers were once teenagers. They think we were born and then we skipped this whole phase, and then boom, we're adults. Like, no, we literally were teenagers too. So having that one-on-one with them and heart-to-heart with them, like, they're like, oh, you're a human being, and not just this person that comes in and gives assignments or whatever. I feel like I'm more open with the students because everything is still new to them to a certain extent, as opposed to adults. Can they use the information I give to them against me? They probably can if they want to, because I don't share too much. Because next thing you know, it's like, that's why your man left you, Miss Volsey, and blah, blah, blah. They can do that. They can sure enough do that. If you piss them off enough, they will do some shit like that. But I haven't had those issues. I feel like I can be more genuine with my students than I can with adults, because it's like they don't necessarily have an agenda, so they just want to know, like, what do you do outside of school besides come here and go to work? I know you do something outside of work, as opposed to an adult that is like, what is your motive?
Adults are fucking weird.
Listen, and the reason why I'm more like that, I never forget the day where I was out for personal reasons. My boss will just put out sick. She doesn't put for what. She writes, because we typically sign our names in. I come in, oh, Ms. Volsey, the person doesn't work there no more. Oh, I saw in the book that you were out yesterday. Okay, I was out. Like, the way the question was being asked is trying to find out why I was out. First of all, you're not my mother, you're not my father. If my boss isn't going to ask me why am I out, why are you asking me if I'm out? I don't cover your classes, you don't cover my classes. I didn't leave sub work for you. Why are you asking?
Yeah.
But when this person in particular is out of work, I don't question it.
Yeah.
Never question it. So it's like, it's not like I don't care. It's like after a certain amount of days, it's like, ooh, I hope they're okay. Type of thing. I hope they're not sick. Because if I know it's just a consistency of them being, I'm like, ooh, I hope they're okay. Because you never know. Some people are private. They don't want to share what they're going through. And I get that. And I'll be like, ooh, I hope they're okay. And then if my boss contacts them, they might say it's okay for the colleagues to know, and then my boss will send an email like, oh, so-and-so is dealing with a loss or they're sick, and then if we want to send flowers or get well cards, we can do that. Then I will proceed to check in on them, but I don't like to push myself into people's personal matters unless they open the door for me to enter. I like that person mentioned diversity isn't just race or gender. It's about also keeping in mind those people who are disabled, people who are older or younger, and also people who are introverted and extroverted. So it's like, it's not fair to always pin it on the introvert, like, oh, they're not bubbly, but like you said, you hired 100 extroverts. Why are you pinning it on the one person who don't like to speak up like that? Yeah. And they are efficient behind the scenes. Keep them for that. Because there's some people who do amazing behind the scenes.
You know what's also shitty about being an extrovert is like, because, so in corporate, if I can find the video, I'll post it, but in corporate, if you're not the bubbly, overly sharing, and like always in the mix, the likelihood that you will be looked at for a promotion is very unlikely. Like, because they don't know you. It's all about popularity and like who you know. It's not about like what you do. It's literally never about what the fuck you do.
That's crazy.
You can do, like, obviously, yeah, it's more complicated than what I'm making it seem, but for the most part, if you're not that bubbly person, if you're not the person that's jumping into all of the social events at work, mind you, my whole team will be like, they'll invite me, but they know my answer's gonna be no, but they'll still invite me just because, like, maybe one day she'll say yes. I don't know. And then when people ask, like, oh, Jess is not going, it's like, no, Jessica doesn't go to these things. If it's just my team, I'm down. I'm down to do whatever. Go out for drinks.
You like your team.
Yes, my fucking team is hilarious and fun, and we're the type of the team that if I'm uncomfortable about something, like I mentioned it twice or 3 times about something that happened that I did not like, and we had a discussion. They explained their side, I explained my side. We came even with like facts. We did the agree to disagree. We like, oh, I didn't know that. I apologize. Like, we can bring those uncomfortable conversations to each other, and it's gonna be had. Like, it's not gonna be brushed under the rug. It's not gonna be one of those things. It's the outer side that I'm just like, okay, I do without. But anyways, what change do you want for your future self, like 5-10 years?
Okay, obviously be a little bit more bubbly.
Oh,
Listen,
Jesus.
for those of you who are pressed for bubbly, go pop a Prosecco and drink that. A pop champagne.
Champagne.
You know, like, leave me alone. But I will do my best to be more bubbly. Like, even if I do, you probably will get 5% of that. And once my battery has run out from the 5%, I go back inside my little shell. Don't bother me. I'll try to be more open, but where did I see myself in 5 years? Like, the change.
What change do you want to see yourself?
Oh, bitch, I want to see retirement. Like, not.
You said that in the last.
Yep, I'm so serious. Like, retirement in a sense, not from work completely. I still want to run my businesses, but retirement from working for somebody else.
Yeah.
Having to, and I get it. Owning your own business isn't for everybody. I'm not the podcaster that's gonna. I don't know if you saw the meme that
How
said
to be an entrepreneur.
Yeah, that one was like, yeah, and then you gotta reinvest and do that. No, that's not me. I'm not doing that because the path that I have taken may not be the path for you. Yeah. We all do stay in our own lane and follow that. But I do truly, I'll say in the last 2 to 3 years, I have had this strong desire to truly like eventually venture off. Like, will I miss working with children? Yes, I will. I think I'll still continue with my tutoring services because just because I don't work in the school system no more doesn't mean like my degree goes in the trash, because trust me, I can still use it. Tutoring students, offering private sessions for parents who would like for me to tutor their child, whether in person or online. I have that option. But the desire to work for someone, figuring out when I can take time off, when I have stuff to do, having to battle traffic every damn day just to get to work and then deal with BS that doesn't help my mental health or mental well-being. No. I'm tired of doing it. I'd rather know that I created this little empire for myself. Oh, I don't want to come in the next 2-3 days. That's fine. But I know I'm coming in the rest of the week because I have to meet with a couple of clients and unlock the door for someone who needs to enter to set up for an event. I don't have a problem with doing that. But having to drive from Brockton all the way to Boston and deal with unnecessary, and when I mean unnecessary traffic, which doesn't make any sense to me, like, traffic, where y'all come from?
like the amount of work from home jobs that are out there should be no fucking reason why there's traffic. Everybody I talk to works from home 99% of the time. So why is there traffic?
Because some people have nothing else better to do. Aside from picking up and dropping off the kids, a lot of people have nothing better to do. People will probably literally drive around because they're bored. I'm like, outside been open for about 2 years now. Ain't nothing new. Nothing new has come out yet. No. Go back inside. Go back. There's no new animals out. There's no new animals out for us to eat. Just go back inside for a little bit. Give us people who actually have to be outside, like go to work. Give us a chance to get to work on time. I'm tired. Like, I avoid the highway at all costs unless I have to. But I do realize, like, when you take the back roads, yes, it saves you time. It might take a little bit longer to get home, but it puts more miles on your car than the highway does. Like, highway miles and street miles are two different things, and it does add on to the wear and tear. But I have no choice. It's like, either I'm going to be 10 minutes late or you want me to be 40 minutes late from being on the highway. Right. Pick your battles, because I'm going to choose the left side. One or the other. Right. Can't have both. Can't have both. But I do see myself, like, changing in the sense, and that's a huge leap for me because, you know, in our minds, what we've been told as millennials, you find a good job, you stay there till you retire. And
but that's for my parents.
Yeah, and that retirement is like 60-something. And when I thought about it,
I think they moved up the retirement, though.
I think it's like 66 or 67. But I think for teachers, we're in a different bracket. Okay. They don't expect teachers to work that long. You can stay if you want to. Yeah,
because I've had old
But you can retire at 59. Even then, that's still atrocious to me. Because it's like, what? Like, I'm not doing that. Absolutely not. So I do have to take those steps to make sure I'm financially secure, because I have to factor in children or a child, if I do have a child, to factor that in to make sure I secure enough for the future. And for mine, that I can live comfortably, that I don't have to panic like, shit, I gotta go back into the workforce now because I blew my money or I don't have enough money or whatever. So I don't want that to be the case. But that's a huge leap for me, because it's like, it's almost like when you worked all your life for a good chunk of time, especially someone who's like in their 70s, they're finally fully retired. Some of them are scared of retiring because it's like, I won't have nothing to do pretty much. Some of them feel like they're useless because they're not working anymore because they spent so much of their time working.
Yep.
So I've had those means. We're not like our parents or our grandparents where they feel like, oh, there's nothing for me to do. As opposed to, I'm creating things that, even if I'm 50, I can just drive in when I want to and do it. I feel like it'll create less stress on my body, my mental state, because it's something that I really love. I'm not saying I don't love teaching, but there's so many layers. I don't know if you guys notice on the news, like, teaching ain't what it used to be. Like, have they made better improvements for the betterment of the child? Yes, and then no. Like, the education system, I'm telling you right now, is ghetto.
Trash.
Save your children if you can. It's ghetto. It is ghetto, especially for our Black and brown students.
Yeah, a lot of parents during the pandemic opted for homeschooling.
Yeah.
I am half and half. Only because I talked to my best friend about like teaching, and she said the importance of children being around children.
Yes.
Is just as vital as them learning. Like, that's part of their growth. So when they're not around children of their age and they're at home being homeschooled, yes, they're going to be smart as fuck, but their social skills are going to lack. And I can tell you from experience, just seeing it happen in 4 months, my nephew being home all the time, not learning how to walk. Obviously, there was other elements that contributed to that. But the minute he went to school, he started walking. He started doing a whole bunch of shit. And that was a year ago. Like, okay, we're going to help him start walking in the first year. That happened in like 3 months. Because he was around other kids. He's like, I want to do what that kid's doing. Like, you know what I mean? Like, kids learn from each other. Like, they can't be around adults because first off, they're like 2 different brackets. Like,
I don't believe in that. I'm not opposed. Do what you want to do with your children. I truly do believe kids need to be around kids. I do not believe kids need to be up under adults because there's things us as adults need to that we do that kids should not be seeing us do anyways or say. Like, does it help with the development?
You ever seen one of those kids that like talk like they're adult, like they can sit down with you and have a conversation?
Because they've been around adults for too long. And you know, some people say, "Oh, that kid got an old soul." They may have it, but
they have their grandma's personality.
They've been around their grandmother or auntie or a older sibling for too long. They need to be around kids their age. What I mean by the education system, because I truly believe the education system needs to be broken apart and revamped in a sense, because the old way, like the 20th century way, is not it. It doesn't work in the century that we're in right now. It doesn't work in the technology age. I'm not saying jobs where you physically need to have human-to-human interaction will never exist. It will always exist. You still need doctors, you need nurses, you need people that deal with sports medicine. Like, you're still going to physically need people to work. Now, when I say workforce, I'm not saying like the factory workers that this country really needed in the early 1800s, 1900s and stuff. Factory workers, the workforce, capitalism will always exist in this country. But when I say the system doesn't work for our students that look like us, I truly mean that. Because it makes no sense to me when I look at other systems within Massachusetts. It's like kids are already on their Thanksgiving break, right? They were already on their Thanksgiving break. But with Boston Public Schools, they're still there till literally the day before. And it's like, makes no sense. And one of my colleagues was like, literally, I'm starting to get the idea that the education system, especially in public school system, where it's predominantly mostly Black and brown students, they have this idea that the kids aren't learning enough, right? But the thing is, when you don't...
The curriculum is not set up for them
to learn enough. And you don't provide us the resources to teach them better. And even if you do provide a resource, you have to give me more than a year for it to freaking work. Like, you got to give it 2-3 years for it to work. We all realize if a system is set in place, you won't notice its effect until 4 or 5 years later. So what makes you think if you put a new resource in place to help our students is going to work within that first school year? You have to give it 2-3 years. If after the 3rd year you see no jump, at least a smidget of improvement, then you can start questioning, like, what are we doing, right? But we're not doing that. We put things in place. It's supposed to work from September through June. How? That's only 10 months. Give it another year or 2 for us to really see the improvements and actually put money into our school system to help our students. Do teachers need to get paid better? Yes, but also make sure we put enough money so that we can have the resource that we need. But before I go on my tangent on education, where do you see yourself, like, change that you want in the next 5 to 10 years, hopefully?
Where do I see myself in 5 to 10 years? Okay. Hopefully out of the state, in another state.
Whew.
With potentially a townhouse or a condo. Renting is for the fucking birds. I hate it with a passion.
Yes, it is for the birds.
So that's my two main goals. Those are two goals that are like really hard for me because of like how close I am to my family. Moving out of the state is just like, ooh. But
do you have an idea where, if you were?
I need something that's kind of city-like, but not too city-like. You know what I mean? Like, I'm a city girl. Like, period. I don't like too quiet. DC is so expensive. Like, I don't even know how that would be feasible.
Everywhere is fucking expensive.
Yeah, I don't know.
But you do give me DC vibes. I'm just saying.
I'm obsessed with DC. I'm just
let me know so I can have a place to
I told you this on the podcast, but like, in 2000, when did me and her look at an apartment? I think it was like 2000.
No, you told me that.
Yeah, it was like $1,600. What I pay now, and it was a studio. So I can't even imagine what that apartment looks like now. Like what that cost looks like right now.
The cost of your heart and your firstborn.
All my
look it up.
There's
a price on human heart, like how much it costs. So
yeah.
You'll see.
So that's just so my sister even said this to me the other day because I'm like, I don't know. I'm just like, I feel like I'm gonna miss out on everything. She's like, if you're gonna hold yourself back because of other people, you're never gonna get what you need to get done.
That's true.
And everybody's just gonna keep moving around you, and you're just gonna be like,
And then you're gonna be like 60 years old. I wish I moved.
Yeah.
Or I wish I'd done that. Nothing worse than having regrets. I rather no regrets. Like I rather not have any regrets. Like
I love my family.
No, there's nothing wrong with loving your family. I think it would probably be something that you would have to get used to. Are you gonna get homesick? Yes, the fuck you are.
Sick, literally.
This one probably look like lethargic when she gets there. Like, are you okay? I miss home.
Looking like somebody's ghost and shit because I'm pale as fuck.
Girl, but I think after a while, you would start getting accustomed and loving the space. Not saying that you would eventually forget your family. Yeah. The sickness would go away. Would you miss them? Would you have those moments like, oh, they're doing something without me? But I'm pretty sure with your family, they'll do things
are always planned.
Things are always planned. That's what I was gonna say. That in advance, that you can probably purchase your ticket, whether it's a plane, a train ride, or something, to get here in time to still be a part of those festivities. So I don't think
train
we miss out.
Tickets now are just as expensive as plane tickets. So
you know what I was saying to my business partner earlier today when I was food shopping? I said, I'm looking at the price of eggs. I'm like, yo, it is fucking expensive to live, to be alive. And I said, listen, I'm not trying to off myself. I'm not saying that. But it's fucking expensive to be alive.
Sorry, I'm laughing because when I did my Instacart this morning, I was like, $10. I don't need it. I don't need it. I cannot justify paying $10 for that shit.
I've purchased store brand. It's literally the same thing, but it just has the store's name on it instead of the name brand.
Girl, I'm talking about at least 70% of the shit that I bought was store brand.
Oh well, as long as you got extra money in your pocket. Because listen, it is expensive.
And they had the nerve. You saved $10. Wow. $10.
The 10 that you was going to spend on the item.
Fucking eggs.
Ghetto.
Like I eat swine, so I was buying bacon. Bacon is so expensive.
What bacon would you get? Turkey bacon?
No, ew.
I don't know.
I might as well go buy leather.
Shut up. What
roll-up strips. I don't fucking know.
Shut up. What bacon?
It's called Black. What the fuck is it called? Black. It's Black Market or some shit. It's like Black something. It's like a brand.
Yeah, but regular like maple bacon or something.
Yeah, it was just regular bacon.
And then they were trying
that shit was. There was one for 12 something. And there was another one for
what
10.
supermarket you go to? Whole Foods?
Stop and Shop.
Bitch, of course.
Shop and Shop.
Girl, I go to Market Basket. Fuck all $12.
I don't think Instacart had that option to do Market Basket.
Probably didn't. But I was using Market Basket. Fuck all of that. You bugging, bitch. $12 for bacon?
Like, is God telling me even like the spring mix and baby spinach thing was like dumb expensive. But I say all that to say, because we're getting off topic, but my 5 to 10 year plan, I don't see it right now just because whatever, but I would hope for myself that I get it together and move the fuck out of here and leave everything behind. yeah. Have a lovely, lovely time in another state. Make new friends. Not make new friends, because I like my friends.
Sorry, guys, I got a little distracted. Thank you guys for catching up on this episode. No, I literally was.
Okay.
But we appreciate you guys. Catch us next time.
Bye.
Jess.